and welcome back to the Diversity Project. I am your host, Rhonda Kulch, and today we are talking with amazing people that help our communities during the holiday season. So, of course, this morning we already had on John Thiessen from the John Thiessen Children's Foundation, and now, of course, in studio we have Gary Brown from the Dream 68 Foundation. Some of you may remember him during his football days, so we always want to try to say, woohoo, I'll be your cheerleader, Gary, it's okay. And now we also have in studio with us Heidi Felix. And what's so important, Heidi, why I brought you in, is because you bring this big spectrum of happiness wherever you go. You're like that little sunshine and rainbows, right? And you help so many people during the holiday season. So why don't you take a few minutes to just tell people why giving back is so special to you?
Well, sometimes we all come from circumstances that we don't always like to talk about. So I had kind of a crazy situation happen to me about 40 years ago where I was in a car accident and I was spared. I always believe that God, keeps us here for a reason. So one of my missions has always been to give back, because the person that I was with was my boyfriend at the time, and the car swerved to miss me and hit him. So one of the things I always believe in is that God shines down on us in different ways. And one of the things I've always wanted to do was volunteer. So I decided to dedicate my time to volunteering and absolutely got addicted. It is one of the things that I love to do. And, one of the organizations that I got involved in because I heard about Kiwanis helping children. And I'm a huge believer in children. I have two of my own, a 20 and a 22-year-old. And I got involved in Kiwanis because I was involved in their lives. Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, things like that in the community. But I felt like I wanted to do more. And what I loved about Kiwanis, it was an international organization that had so many great programs that they did. And at the holidays, it was one of the things that we would do Thanksgiving drives, food drives, helping people that were in need. And, the generosity that you see is just absolutely incredible in our community. And so I, started getting more and more involved in my Key Club has been, really instrumental in our Wantagh community, which is where I live. And John Thiessen happens to be one of my Kiwanis members. So John and I got to know each other when my daughter was a Daisy Girl Scout about 15 years ago. Oh my God. And John and I, just became fast friends. And every year we always did his toy drive. And, my Girl Scouts would go out and their parents would buy gifts. And, then we started telling our friends. And then I put a box on my front porch, and anybody who knew where I lived would come and donate toys. And we just had so much fun every single year getting involved with John. So I became kind of addicted to helping at the holidays. So that's one of the things I absolutely love to do. And, John and I have become fast friends since that. And I actually had the pleasure of working for him about 8 years ago and seeing what he does firsthand with families that are in need. He really just worked so hard to deliver wishes to everyone. So it's just been a fantastic journey, knowing John and now knowing Gary. I met Gary a few years ago and heard about what he was doing at Thanksgiving. And I was just so excited to be able to help. Now with my new job, I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at LifeVac, and we're saving lives, which is remarkable in itself. We just saved our 85th life, a little 4-week-old baby. It was incredible. So all these things that we're doing, and again, more importantly, giving back. So we look at different organizations like yours, Rhonda, right? Where at the holidays, you're delivering dreams. You're delivering, things that you can't put a price tag on. As they say in those commercials, right? It is priceless, because putting a smile on a child's face and helping others is really something that I'm so dedicated. It's part of my mission. I know God spared me for a reason, and I'm just trying to deliver on that promise.
And, we have a lot of people that are listening right now, and I think there are a lot of people that would love to come out and volunteer, but they feel like they don't have the time. I can say firsthand that during the holiday season, I probably put in 20 to 30 hours a week, which is, another job in itself to make things happen. How about yourself? Gary, I'm going to send this to you and then to Heidi. How many hours do you think you're putting in so that people can get an idea? You could put in as little as 2 or 3.
I found in my journey that if you make it easy for people, they're more acceptable to helping out. I got started in doing philanthropy work because Much like you, Heidi, things happened in my life. At one point, I was paralyzed. I was in a bed, and I was told I was never going to walk again. And I was in a very dark place, trying to digest that information. I'm kind of an alpha male. I don't need anybody for anything. Get out, I'll be okay, leave me alone. And then now to be in a bed needing a 20-year-old intern to clean you kind of changes your life. It makes you look at things totally different. But after I went through that stuff, I heard a guy on the radio, Nick Wojcik, quadriplegic, no arms, no legs, but he was on top of a stage, on top of a table, telling able-bodied people how to live life. And if you want to get over your own problems, help somebody else with theirs. So immediately the first thing I did was volunteer with Big Brother, Big Sister, and that turned my eyes around. And every minute before that, I always told myself, oh, I would love to do that, but I don't have time. Oh, I would love to help out, but I don't have time. I'm too caught up in life with things that don't matter to help out. And then once I figured it out, that it wasn't about me helping people, it was just as much as when people helping me.
Yeah.
I made time. It changed everything that I did. That what's a little bit of time? Restructure your day, change it over, do what you have to do.
Well, your experiences are what allow you to grow as a person. And without them, we never knew where exactly our journey was going to take us. You know, I speak to a lot of people, and if you listen, everybody who is a leader has failed or has had tragedy in their life. And instead of becoming a victim, they've learned to overcome their challenges and be the best version of themselves that they can be. And I think that's probably why we all get along so well. And there's no competition. You know, when you speak to some of these organizations, you know, it's always about, you know, this need for them to be the best. You don't have to be the best. You have to surround yourself with a good core group of people that want to see success come your way. You know, which again, another reason why I think we all work well together. You know, for yourself, Heidi, how, you know, when we're talking about volunteering, and it's a little different. You know, Gary runs an organization, I run an organization. You are a full-time mom, you have a full-time job, and you are selling yourself short when you say that you're only involved in one or two organizations. How do you find the time, and what does that look like? You know, for myself, I involve my children. So when people ask me, how do you do everything you do when you have 5 kids at home? And it's because they become my assembly line. They're my cheerleaders. They are the first ones for me to delegate responsibility to. How about yourself?
It's so funny because my children by default had to be involved in everything because, you know that I had a full-time job. I worked for Xerox. My son became very sick and they literally told me to take him home. They thought he was going to die. They had no idea what was going to happen to my son. And from that moment on, I made it my mission to dedicate my time to being a full-time mom. And with that, the Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts and all that stuff, that's how I started my level of service. But I also started to become a church school teacher, which is my favorite thing ever. I do that every Sunday. I've been doing that for 18 years. And so my dedication to God is really what drives me in everything that I do. So, you know, I always look at that first, right? Before my feet hit the ground, I say prayers for everybody that I know and love and everybody who needs support. And then with that, I pray on how am I going to get through this week? Because I do volunteer quite a bit, you know, within my church, you know, part of a lot of different missions besides just, you know, the church. One of the things that I do is the Mission Center. It's a Mother and Child Mission Center. And we are my Key Club. I get my kids now, because my kids are older, I get my Key Club kids to help out with things that they feel passionate about. So I tell them what I'm involved in. They go, Miss Heidi, what can we do? So now, right now, they're doing an essentials drive for all these mothers and children. We have about 100 families we help every week, part of my church and our outreach center at the Church of St. Jude in Wantagh. So it's really remarkable to see these kids come together. And then add to that, they're doing the toy drive for John Thiessen. And one of my kids, this is the best compliment ever, a girl that I've known since she was in kindergarten, Hannah Carey. I'm her gold advisor. I don't know if you're familiar with the Gold Awards for Girl Scouts. It's a very remarkable program. She was always involved in my food drives, and she goes, you always inspired me for this. So she set up in our community boxes that are going to go into different businesses to donate so that it's a touchless program for the food drives, and we're doing it together. And I'm just so thrilled to be a part of it. So again, I don't know how many hours I volunteer, but it's a paycheck of the heart.
I love that. I know we are running a little low on time, so I am just going to ask you to keep your seat. I'm not quite done picking your brain yet, Miss Heidi. And of course, in studio, we also have Gary Brown of the Dream 68 Foundation. We always want to remind our guests, we know that some of you that are listening right now may be in the car, you may be in your home. Go to www.thediversityprojectli.com and you can find a direct link to all of our guests. You can also find archive episodes. So if you love what you heard today, keep in mind that our entire show is centered around community and well-being and giving a voice to those that need it the most. So if you please stay tuned, we are going to be bringing Miss Heidi Felix back on in just a few minutes.